My Daughter's Keeper presents The Pantry by Kai Walker, a solo 5e scenario by Obvious Mimic Press. Episode 1.
The blizzard howls like a vengeful spirit, its icy claws tearing at your face and wrapping around you in an unrelenting grip. The wind carries stinging shards of ice that feel like tiny needles piercing your skin. Snow whips in chaotic patterns, obscuring your vision until the world around you is reduced to a swirling void of white and grey. Each step is a battle. The ground beneath your boots a treacherous mix of frozen sludge and jagged ice. The sound of the storm is deafening. A cacophony of rushing wind in a desolate wasteland where life has no place. Breathing becomes a laborious task. The air is so frigid it burns your lungs, and every exhalation hangs briefly in the air before being stolen away by the gale. Then, through the shifting wind up ahead, a hunched building emerges. As you approach, it resolves into an inn. The sign hanging above its door gives its name, the Tenth Circle. This appears to be your only chance at respite. You approach the inn, drawn by its promise of a hot meal, a bright fire, and the company of others. That's when you hear it, a low, guttural snort, so deep it cuts through the wail of the wind. The sound is out of place here, foreign to the storm's endless roar. Then, the snow parts to reveal a huge shape. A wild boar stands before you, massive and hulking, its form wreathed in frost and shadow. Its ribs jut out sharply, each one visible through its filthy hide like the bars of a cage, evidence of starvation that should have long since claimed it. The creature's presence feels unnatural, its sudden appearance out of the storm too abrupt, too precise, almost as if it had been placed there, waiting for you. Its beady eyes gleam with a feverish intensity. The storm swirls around it, the snow seeming to bow to its presence, accentuating the unnatural stillness of the moment. The boar snorts again, its breath rising in thick, ghostly clouds that dissipate into the wind. Roll an intelligence nature or wisdom survival check.
My wisdom's slightly better, so let's give that a go. Ooh, 19 on the dice, plus 3. 22.
The creature lets out an ear-splitting squeal that cuts through the howling storm and sends shivers racing down your spine. Its emaciated body trembles, every sinewy muscle quivering with adrenaline and raw desperation. Despite its weakened frame, there is undeniable power in its stance. You realize with a jolt that this is no ordinary animal. At first glance, it is simply a predator driven to the brink of madness by starvation, and it has marked you as prey. Yet there is a strange deliberation in its movement, as though this confrontation is more ritual than survival, a fight with purpose rather than blind desperation. You need to fight. The boar charges at you, its broad frame moving with surprising speed despite its emaciated appearance. Its hooves pound against the frozen ground, scattering snow and ice as it dashes forward.
Right, let's roll for initiative. 9 for me, plus, what is my 4? So that's 13. What does the boar get? Oh, boar gets 5. I get the drop on it. Right, no question about it. Eldritch Blast. Well, that's a D10 of damage. 8 points. 11, yeah. That does it some serious damage. And that was only a cantrip, which means I can then jump in and try to hit it with my sickle. 14 on the die, plus 3 is 17. Its armor class is only 11, so that is going to be a hit. That means 4 plus 4. 3 on the die, plus the 1. Yep, this is dead. I bring down this boar in a single round of combat. Beautiful.
The boar collapses to the ground with a heavy thud, its massive frame sending a shudder through the frozen earth. Steam rises from its wounds, twisting and curling in the icy air like a spirit departing its mortal vessel. There is no triumph in this moment, no sense of victory, only a quiet understanding that, in its own way, the creature has saved you as much as you have slain it. You stand over the hulking carcass, chest heaving, your breath fogging in the cold. The beast had been fierce, relentless, a primal force that challenged you. Yet now, as its body lies still, you are struck by a strange sense that there was something deliberate in the way it confronted you, something purposeful. Each charge, each swing of its tusks had been tempered with an unspoken weight. It had fought valiantly, but not with the desperation of an animal clinging to life. Instead, it was as if it had offered itself to you, a grim and silent gift in this desolate, unforgiving landscape. You kneel beside the creature, running your hand over its frost-covered fur. The boar's ribs, so painfully visible, speak of its long suffering. It had endured, somehow defying the brutal starvation that has gripped this land, and yet it chose this moment, this fight, to let go. For a fleeting moment, the blizzard seems almost reverent. The wind eases, the snow softens, and the world feels still. You can't shake the feeling that this encounter was more than chance, that the boar's presence here, its challenge, and its ultimate death were not merely the product of nature. It feels deliberate, almost ordained, a gift or a test, though from whom or what you cannot say. The storm resumes its unrelenting fury, the moment of calm swept away as the wind howls once more. You know you cannot wait. This land gives nothing freely, and the boar's gift is no exception. With the storm closing in once more, you can't remain exposed for long. The wind claws at your face, and the snow begins to thicken, reducing the world to a swirling haze of white. Through the shifting flurries, the tavern's windows bleed some of their light and warmth out into the blizzard with the promise of shelter at least, and possibly a meal of roast boar. You can leave the boar where it fell, or bring its body into the inn.
Something tells me that any fellow patrons at this inn may enjoy some roast boar. Let's pick it up.
Gain inspiration. Gritting your teeth, you grasp the boar's legs, its massive weight dragging heavily through the snow. You bang the tavern door open in front of you and haul the boar carcass into the common room. Heads turn in your direction, but no one stands to help. You dump the body on the floor. "Just leave it there for now," the barkeep calls to you as he absently wipes a mug. "Come here and I'll find you something to eat." Despite the detached greeting, the simple act of sitting down at the bar feels more vitalizing than the rest you managed to steal the night before. Your muscles ache and the exhaustion that clings to you like a second skin begins to loosen its grip, if only slightly. "Ah, boar would be a welcome change," says a bearded man by the fire. He lets a spoonful of something grey and wet fall from his spoon into his bowl. "What a gift you have brought." Water runs down your face and into your collar, and your clothes drip steadily onto the warped floorboards, forming small puddles beneath you. The tavern itself isn't faring much better. The room is dimly lit by a few flickering candles on the tables and a handful of smoky oil lamps mounted unevenly on the walls. It looks tired, as though the building itself has weathered more winters than it was ever meant to. "This is the only inn for 50 miles, the barkeep tells you, "and one of the only ones that still serves food." He speaks as if it were a lifeline, but the tone in his voice suggests it might be your last. As you've travelled, you notice that the farmlands surrounding the inn lay abandoned, barren fields stretching out endlessly, their crops long withered. Even before the storm, it seems the land here was forsaken, offering no sustenance to those who relied on it. The patrons, thankfully, have returned to their own business, their initial flash of hostility fading into indifference. They drink, eat, and mutter amongst themselves, their voices low and unintelligible. All of them are older men, their hunched shoulders and coarse shoving reminding you of pigs jostling at a trough. Their subdued grunting and snorting is almost the only sound in the room, adding to the oppressive air of the place. The room feels smaller than it should, the walls pressing inward. Everything here, every chair, every table seems built for utility, reduced to a bland and functional sameness. Like the patrons themselves, the tavern has surrendered any ambition of being more than what it is, a place to sit, eat, and wait. From a table near you comes the sound of the rhythmic scrape of a spoon against wood as someone finishes their meal. Slow, deliberate, repetitive. The barkeep reappears, wiping his hands on a filthy rag as he leans over the counter. "Listen," he says, his tone weary but not unkind. "We don't have any rooms left, but with the weather outside, I can't let you go back out there. Have your dinner here and I'll see if I can figure something out." Without waiting for your answer, he disappears behind the bar. The light in the room flickers as a draught snakes through the poorly sealed windows. Evening must be approaching, though the storm has robbed you of any real sense of time. The small wooden chair you have sunk into is as functional as the rest of the furniture, its surface rough and splintered. At least for now, you have a roof over your head. The air in the tavern is thick, humid and oppressive, clinging to your skin and making it hard to breathe. Drops of condensation streak the glass windows, distorting the pale light of the storm outside into ghostly patterns. "We have stew for dinner today," the barkeep announces, unceremoniously slamming a wooden bowl onto the table in front of you. "Or any day," one of the patrons calls out, his voice heavy with sarcasm as he adds bitterly, "The gods have forsaken us." The barkeep ignores the comment, setting a spoon down beside the bowl. The utensil looks clean enough, and for a moment you let yourself hope that the stew might be decent. As your food cools, you have a moment's respite to look around you. You can take a closer look at the food, talk to the barkeep, or look around the common room itself.
I think it's only polite to have a quick chat with the barkeep.
"The food is on the house if you're staying," the barkeep says, his voice coming from behind the bar. He glances at the boar carcass lying on the floor and adds, "We'll take the old boar as payment, and I doubt you're going anywhere in this snow." You look over at him now, properly taking in his appearance for the first time. There's something odd about him, an incongruity in the way he carries himself. His body is broad and sturdy, suggesting someone young and energetic. However, his movements tell a different story, deliberate and slow. They betray a stiffness that doesn't match his frame. His face is lined with deep wrinkles, his thinning hair grey save for a stubborn patch of brown that clings on near his temples. He must be in his 60s, maybe 70s, though his physicality seems to resist such conclusions. Unlike his patrons, his body shows no signs of hunger or deprivation. Quite the opposite. He appears well-fed, his robust frame standing in stark contrast to the gaunt faces around the room. The barkeep fiddles with a quill, its worn tip failing to find the ink. A book of some sort lies open in front of him, apparently a guest book. Your eyes drift back to the bowl in front of you, its contents still boiling hot. In a place like this, even the simplest meal feels like more than just sustenance. It feels like survival.
Let's take a quick look around this common room.
The common room of the 10th Circle is like every other Traveller's Inn you've seen, except somehow missing a certain something the others all had. Conviviality. A hearth burns fitfully on one side of the room, and narrow stairs climb to an unseen second story. Small windows let in the pale, fading light filtered through the blizzard outside. Customers periodically shuffle between the common room and their rooms above. Blocky, rough-hewn tables and chairs are scattered beneath smoky oil lamps casting dim light. In a seedy part of a larger city, you might look for danger in dark corners, but not here. There is no sense of anything, in fact, just the slow smacking and slurping of patrons consuming their evening meal.
One should never look a gift horse in the mouth, but I do want to take a quick look at this meal.
You glance down at the bowl, and are surprised to find the meal appears more appetizing than you expected. It's more soup than stew, the vegetables and meat ground to a mostly even, smooth texture with some chunks sticking out of the broth. It does look somewhat pale, but not discouragingly so. Perhaps it's a family recipe, or perhaps it's a way to disguise the age and quality of the ingredients. The stew is hot and you are starving. You ignore the flies trying to get to your meal before you.
Let's get a hot meal in this and see how we feel afterwards.
Near the guttering hearth, the older bearded man catches your eye. He winks at you while hunched over his bowl, sprinkling the contents of a ceramic salt container into the stew with exaggerated precision. The salt flows freely, a cascade of white grains swallowed greedily by the bland mixture. His lips twitch into the faintest smile, though it's a bitter, sardonic expression. His gaze flicks up, meeting yours again with an unsettling intensity. "Another prayer answered," he murmurs, his voice low and laced with something that feels like mockery or perhaps resignation. It's the kind of phrase that could be a joke, but here it lands like an invocation. It makes a difference. The salt, I mean. His words hang in the air, drawing the attention of no one but you. Without warning, he throws the ceramic shaker in your direction. Roll a dexterity check.
14 on the die, plus my modifier of 2. That is a comfortable 16. That's a pass.
You snatch the salt shaker out of the air. The bearded man smiles and mimes adding salt to his food before turning back to his bowl to continue with his meal. "Makes all the difference in the world," he calls out over his shoulder. "Eat the stew, or decide against eating tonight."
I've been out in the cold. I want something to eat.
A flicker of unease curls in your chest as you glance around the room. The other patrons, far from sharing your concern, seem engrossed in their meals. They eat with mechanical fervour, spoon after spoon, some even calling for seconds or thirds. Their movements are robotic, almost detached, as though the act of eating is more ritual than necessity. The old man by the fire leans back in his chair, his faint smile fading into something far more sombre. He gestures vaguely toward the other patrons, his expression unreadable. Do you see it yet? The stillness in them? The way they eat, as if it's all they know? It wasn't always like this. But over time, the storm outside crept in here too. Not the snow, but the cold. The kind that turns hearts brittle and kills the fire in your gut. Now all they do is eat. Eat without tasting, survive without living. His words are heavy, carrying the weight of someone who has said them before and been ignored. His gaze sharpens, his eyes narrowing as though studying you for a reaction. Maybe you'll be different. You'll taste something they can't. He exhales sharply, almost a laugh but not quite. Go on, try it. You at least have some seasoning for the bland meal now.
I'm going to give it a heaping handful of salt and give it a go.
You sprinkle the salt into your bowl and stir it slowly, feeling the bearded old man's eyes on you the entire time. Even with the salt, the stew in your bowl tastes of nothing but the salt you just added. It's soft and unyielding in your mouth, with a complete absence of flavour. As you lift the spoon to your lips again, however, he speaks once more, his voice quieter now, almost as if he's talking to himself. "I come here often, you know. I've seen so many wanderers like you. You're all the same at first. Hungry, curious, maybe even hopeful. But this place..." He trails off, shaking his head. "This place drains that out of you, like the storm outside. It never really leaves." For a moment he seems lost in thought. Then his voice hardens and he fixes you with an almost accusatory glare. "But maybe you're different. Maybe you'll do more than just stay here and eat. Or maybe you won't. It's all the same to them." He nods toward the other patrons, his tone bitter. "And in the end, it's easier to pretend you don't see the rot, isn't it?" Without another word, he picks up his spoon and resumes eating, his gaze dropping to his bowl as though the conversation never happened. The salt container rests heavy in your hand, and the room feels colder despite the warmth of the stew in front of you. You can ask the barkeep about the meal he's served, or finish your meal and ask for a room.
I'm not going to be too rude with this one. I'm just going to finish my meal and ask for a room.
The barkeep's massive hands rest on the counter, gripping its edges as though they might steady him. His bloodshot eyes flick to you, then down to his open guest book. He flips through the pages with exaggerated care, though it's clear he already knows what they'll show. "I'm sorry to say we're fully booked. No empty rooms available and no one's about to share their space." His tone is flat, almost rehearsed. The barkeep hesitates, his brow furrowing as he looks past you toward a door behind the bar. "Well, maybe there is something." His words trail off, and he scratches the back of his head, clearly uneasy. "You can sleep in the pantry, in the back of the kitchen. It's not much, just a storage space really, but it'll keep you out of the storm." He looks back to you, his expression growing stern. But don't steal anything, you understand? No touching. That's where we keep the food and store our deliveries. I can set up a makeshift bed in there, and it'll do for the night. This way. He beckons you toward what is obviously the kitchen. You can ask what to do about the boar, or follow the barkeep into the kitchen.
What should I do about this boar, my good man?
The barkeep's eyes widen slightly, his lips pressing into a thin line. For a moment, his mask of detachment falters, replaced by something like uncertainty. That thing? It almost starved to death. He glances at you sharply, his voice lowering as though you've suggested something unthinkable. Even a pig dog wouldn't get up to hunt that. The barkeep thinks for a moment, then straightens and exhales, rubbing his temple with one hand. Fine, he mutters, his voice laced with reluctance. I'll make sure the boar gets dealt with. It might just improve our stew after all. If you have changed your mind, you can turn around and leave the inn.
There's a mystery to be had here. I'm going to risk accepting shelter.
The barkeep nods again and wordlessly leads you toward the kitchen. As soon as you leave the dining area, a powerful odor barges into your nostrils like an unwelcome guest. It isn't the scraps left on the tables or the used stew bowls, but something else in here. Your eyes drift toward the corner of the room where a cast iron pot bubbles over a low fire. That is definitely the source of the odor, which seems to grow thicker and more oppressive with each passing moment. The smell is putrid, a mix of sulphurous rot like bad eggs left too long in the sun, mingled with the salty tang of decaying fish and the metallic bite of old blood. There's a sourness to it that clings to the back of your throat, making you want to gag. The fire beneath the pot burns unnaturally hot, the flames crackling and snapping with bursts of blue, yellow and red. They dance erratically, too bright for such a modest fire, their colours shifting like oil on water. The chimney above the fire seems to wheeze faintly, struggling to expel the stench into the storm beyond. The room feels heavier. Each creak of the floorboards seems to echo louder than it should, as though the tavern itself resents your intrusion. The faint hum of conversation behind you fades with each step, replaced by the rhythmic bubbling of the pot and the low hiss of the fire. The barkeep's voice rattles you out of your trance. It's free. Free with the room. No one's starving here, are they? You glance at his hands as he speaks. Thick and calloused, they tremble slightly as they search for something to hold. It's as though he needs an anchor, some object to distract from the uneasy truths lurking behind his words. Finally, he picks up a tarnished ladle, gesturing with it toward the pot. It's not so bad, not once you get used to it. I prefer it plain myself. His words linger, but there's an edge to his voice now, a quiet desperation, as though he's trying to convince himself as much as you. The bubbling pot gurgles ominously behind him, its surface disturbed by unseen movements beneath. You can't shake the feeling that this isn't just food. It's something else entirely. The barkeep shifts uncomfortably, his eyes darting toward the pot. For a brief moment he looks as though he might say more, but instead he clutches the ladle tighter and busies himself with stirring the stew.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the chaos as much as we did. Don't forget, new episodes drop every Sunday and Wednesday, so there's always more trouble just around the corner. If you'd like to dive deeper, you can join us over at the My Daughter's Keeper Patreon. You'll get access to a growing library of exclusive scenarios you won't find anywhere else, entry to our members-only Discord community, and even the chance to take a seat at the table at our backer-only games. Until next time, keep your wits about you, your dice within reach, and just try not to make things worse